Welcome to Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. Chris Lee, joined by Graham Doty. We're here to talk about Tennessee baseball. Yeah, not something we're usually talking about in October, but that's because Tony Vitello has left the Vols for the Giants. We'll get into that, the ramifications for Tennessee baseball. All that, we'll take your questions. Before we do any of that, reminder, we're brought to you by our friends at GameTime SIDEKICKS, which makes this lovely 40-ounce tumbler that I use for my water every day. Officially licensed stainless steel tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, shaker cups, all that good stuff. SE16 gets you a 20% discount on your entire order at GameTimeSidekicks.com. All right, Graham, not entirely unexpected. This has been rumored since I think Jeff Passan broke the news on Saturday. Yeah, it happened about primetime SEC football, and boy, it started getting talk immediately. An unusual choice for an MLB managerial job. We can get into that aspect in a few minutes, but yeah, big loss for Tennessee baseball.
Yeah, it really is. And to me, this is a fascinating hire for several reasons. There's the Tony Vitello side of it and just how that's going to shake out. And then there's the other side. What does the future look like for the Tennessee baseball programs? Kind of wondering what they would do interim head coach wise. Like Danny White has already announced it. Like Frank Anderson, who's been there for a minute too, longtime pitching coach. He's the interim, not Elander. So I thought that was an decision. There's just a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, that's not what I was thinking would happen. I thought it would be Elander also. Anderson has been a head coach at the University of Houston. Jeff Womack's in the chat. Welcome, Jeff. Longtime buddy of mine. Holy cow, didn't think that name would pop up today, but here we are. Jay Greason joins us from Chattanooga. Jay, I don't know. I don't think you're in FM radio anymore in the afternoons in East Tennessee, but hey, it is crazy. We're sitting here in the middle of football season. Tennessee baseball is a topic and a big topic today. I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods, but I think this is, it says a lot about what Tony Vitello did that we are sitting here talking about this in the middle of football season.
It does. I think Graham nailed the coaching storylines. I think a big storyline here, at least in the state of Tennessee, is there are a whole lot of people who spend a whole lot of more money on orange paraphernalia who are pissed at Danny White.
Yeah.
I mean, and nobody, look, man, you get a shot to swing for the big leagues. That's everybody's dream. Whether you're a player or you're a coach, whatever it is. I mean, Spurrier did it. Saban did it. Vitello's doing it. Calipari did it. Patino did it. I mean, rock star guys dominate college, and then they take a swing at the pro levels, and more times than not, they fail. And then they come back, and they become rock star guys again. So the other one here is Georgia fans better keep their head on a swivel, because I've said for years that the three most beloved guys in their fan base are Bruce Pearl, Danny V, and Kirby Smart. And now two of them have hopped up and gone. So, Graham, I mean, look, man, you may think you're the one key difference there, of course, is Kirby went to school there. And right. So, and I don't know if Kirby will ever blow a whistle anywhere but in Athens. But the two biggest, I mean, what's next? Dawn Staley going to the WNBA? I mean, at this point in time, it's if you're a rock star in this league, you can write your ticket. I mean, hell, you live over there in the state. Lane Kiffin's about to be the most coveted person this side of Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, no question. One thing you said there, Jay, you mentioned Danny White. Look, I don't think there's any reason to be mad at him. Like, again, it's Major League Baseball. It's one of the most iconic organizations. Like, of course, Tony Vitello is going to take it, right? There's just nothing Tennessee could have done, in my opinion. Like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Well, I will say this. There are a lot of people I know on that beat who I trust who swear that Nicky Caldwell was about to get a whole lot of a good chunk of Tony V's NIL budget.
Yeah, not Caldwell, but their current women's basketball.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. Yes.
Yeah, that's a big, like, that's one of those topics that if you wade into it on Twitter right now, you get an earful of stuff. And like it being football season and me doing football stuff all day, I have not had time to dive into all the mechanics of that. Now I've chatted with people, got a little bit here and there, so I don't want to speculate out of turn without knowing more. But I mean, look,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, and look, Danny White has been super popular there. I know he didn't hire all the coaches there, but the success under his reign, and he did hire Josh Heupel, which, football carries the water everywhere. It is wild to me how, I don't know if toxic is the word, but maybe loud is the word it has gotten around Danny White and all this. Yeah, and look, I think too, I started hearing, I guess last summer, that he was kind of looking to get a big league job. Now, you don't know what's just bluster and what's, hey, let's throw this out here so I can get a big raise when time comes and, my school locks me in. But I did hear that last summer. And look, here's the thing. If you're Tony Vitello, I don't know that it's going to work at the major league level. It's completely different. I will say this. He is I think he'll be a player's coach. So there's that, he's got that going for him. I'm not saying it's not going to work. It's just odd. But if I'm him, like Tony Vitello, if it doesn't work in a year or two, can get a high profile college baseball job. Whether it's maybe back at Tennessee, if it doesn't work, and if it doesn't work with the next guy, who knows? That's probably a stretch, but he can get one somewhere. You don't know how many chances you're going to have to get a Major League Baseball managerial job. I mean, he's the first one to go, I think, directly. Now, I know Pat Murphy, who's
but Chris Murphy,
Murphy went to an assistant's job first, correct?
He was a bench coach for 7 years. 7 years. And the other thing, like, he put Arizona State on probation, so like he had no other options in the NCAA.
Okay.
Like, this is totally different because this is really the first true time that somebody has gone from college to Major League Baseball. I know Dick Hauser did it in 1980, but guys, he was with the Yankees, went to Florida State for a year, then went back to the Yankees. This is different because Tony Vitello did not play professional ball and has not coached at any level in professional ball. So this is like a brand new giant science experiment, and everybody's just fascinated to see what in the world is going to happen. I think it's either going to be like a home run hire, pun intended, or it's just not going to work at all.
But Buster Posey just put himself on the clock in San Francisco, and Danny White may have in Knoxville. I think it seems like a little much at the time. I get people are upset and they're emotional. You cannot lose track of the stuff the guy's done there as your AD.
You can't, and they're good across the board. Money's rolling in. Macro, before we get into replacements and whether we think Tony V is going to make this thing work or not. All right, I can remember doing a live chat with you in March, Chris, when Nico went into Josh Heupel's office and asked for more NIL money. Why did we get so bent out of shape? Every coach does this every cycle. Every coach is about to go do it now because Florida and Penn State and Auburn, and soon enough, and Arkansas and so many of the other jobs they're going to walk into their boss's office and say, pay me more or I'm looking elsewhere. And it's part of the business. We've now got to understand it's part of the business with the players too.
Yeah. And that one was different. I think obviously Tony Vitello has proven a lot more than Nico did. And also that I think that the timing is a little different. That situation seemed kind of engineered to hold Tennessee over the barrel, whether this was, well, I guess they were both legitimate opportunities. Obviously, Nico landed at UCLA, which hasn't exactly gone great for the most part. But anyway, I digress. Where were we?
Well, again, like, I guess my question to you guys, it's just the Tony Vitello part of this, if y'all want to dive into that. or what does the future look like for Tennessee baseball? Because they had their moments in the past, but they were nowhere near what they have been under Tony Vitello. So
yeah, hey, I used to talk to people on the beat and say, you're missing a great product. And you could see when he had it forming, they had it going. Like, no coach, even when, oh gosh, the guy that won there about 20 years ago, Delmonico, even when Rod Delmonico was there, they would draw some people, but they weren't a talking point ever. Like, this is a completely different stratosphere that they're in now.
It's a completely different stratosphere without question. And I'll go you a step further. This kicks SEC baseball in the shins because he was the biggest rock star in this league and sold out every stadium he went into. So, I mean, hey, the explosion, Chris, you and I have had this conversation. I think Pearl elevated the entirety of SEC basketball because everybody looked up and said, holy bleep, Auburn's number one in the country. Auburn's competing for Final Fours. Why the hell are we not doing it? Because they see full houses and they started spending resources. When Vitello got it going in Knoxville, everybody else elevated their games either from really caring about baseball to super caring about baseball, or thinking, well, if Tennessee can do it, we can do it. And so he was the rising tide that lifted all ships in the SEC.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Graham. Then I've got a thought there.
Oh, that's a great point, Jay. And like, it is a sad day for college baseball because like this is a guy that's essentially the most polarizing figure in college baseball. And so like, it is a sad day because you lose that part of it. And then I just feel awful for Tennessee fans. Again, I don't think there's anything they could have done. The timing is awful. Like, it is what it is. But I just think this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And, like, San Francisco made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Jay, it was – I think the Pearl analogy is great. I think it's a little bit incomplete. The first one I was thinking of was actually Steve Spurrier. No, it's different because, Florida – had the seeds to win at football without Steve Spurrier. But like, Spurrier came in and he was that personality that you loved him or you hated him. There really wasn't a middle ground and everyone had an opinion on him. And Tony Vitello is the same way, except with the Bruce Pearl elements in terms of taking something that was completely irrelevant at the stop that he was and making it into something that nearly everybody cared about. So really, it's almost both of them.
And look, Josh is putting in there that a lot of folks he knows in Knoxville don't think Erlander will get the job. I think it's quite telling that they went to Anderson. I mean, yeah, I think that's quite telling. So I did not hear the 3:30 press conference, so I don't know the particulars. But it's a job laden with talent. And at least in years past, been willing to pony up whatever it took to be competitive in every portal bidding process that's out there.
Yeah. So here, from my understanding, and if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me, but as far as the portal goes, I'm pretty sure it's only grad transfers that can like get up and leave right now to play somewhere else for this upcoming season. I think it's grad transfers only. I don't think like a freshman, sophomore, junior, I don't think that's an option right now just because of the window.
And I think they got a couple of those guys. I don't know how many were grad transfers or upperclassmen transfers. Feels like maybe they landed a pitcher or two that fit that description, which, now your pitching coach is your head coach in this case for a year, which, by the way, Frank Anderson has been the head coach at Houston before. I think Tennessee fans, I'm sure, knew that. But so you are bringing in a guy with head coaching experience for the time being, too.
It's been a minute, though. That's pre-Big 12 Houston, too.
Yeah, it has been a minute.
But to me, what's setting my antennas up is just the fact that Elander is not the interim head coach. Like, this is a guy that is well-liked, well-respected. He's in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
like he's an excellent recruiter. Like he's gonna be a head coach in the SEC one day. Like he just is. We don't know where it's gonna be, but to me, it is fascinating that he is not the interim head coach. I thought they would give him the interim tag, let him just do this upcoming season, see how it goes, and then like we'll get back to it or have discussions after the season. That's the route I thought they were going. I was pretty surprised that they're going Frank Anderson.
Yeah,
Well,
that feels like a really want to move on and hire a different staff in a year kind of move, which is the vibe that I'm getting just from chatting with people here and there that are close to that program. Not reporting, but just passing along.
Well, the GBO Kyle Beach put in there that Danny White apparently said in the press conference he wanted Elander to focus on the interview, and that's why he was not named the interim coach. So, and that could be true. I'm just passing along details that were said in the news conference that I did not see.
Okay, Kendall Rogers tweeted this: Frank Anderson will be the interim head coach for Vol baseball, and at his presser, Tennessee AD Danny White wants Josh Elander to be a candidate for the head coaching job. So I didn't get the interview reference there, but I guess that's what that meant.
And Josh followed up, and he's 100% right on this because we've got a couple of them from our coverage area, and all the Tennessee baseball fans in my social media feed, every meaningful player over the last 5 years has not only thanked Tony V, they have referenced Elander in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, though. I mean, is your best interview for the job not getting it on a trial basis? I mean, that would tell me a whole lot more than sitting down and talking with the guy for an hour in my office.
Yeah, I know. To me, if they go this route for this whole upcoming season, like this has a chance to be awkward.
Yes.
I mean, like it just does. Like, well, Anderson wants the job full time. Elander wants it. He's been there. He's been awesome there. I don't know. It's got a chance to get weird. And then, like, if they're hoping to get a brand new head coach before the upcoming season starts, like, I just think the odds of that are low.
Yeah.
Like, who's gonna want to up and move in, October, November? Just the timing is what makes this terrible for Tennessee.
Yeah, but the paycheck makes it damn right desirable for a whole lot of folks coaching college baseball.
No doubt. Yeah. Tony V, second highest paid coach in the country, only behind Jay Johnson. No state income tax in Tennessee. So he's going from that to what is he going to make for the Giants and then living in California, having to deal with all that.
Well, the number I heard was 8.
That's a big number.
That's a huge number. It was twice what they were paying Bob Melvin.
Yeah. And they had to pay the buyout, which was 3. So if it's 8, you're looking, 11 mil to do that?
Buster Posey, you best be hoping this really hits.
I don't know. Jeez. Josh is saying Frank Anderson has been on retirement watch for 2 years. Maybe. But
Yeah, I mean, Anderson's got to be in his 60s, don't you think?
I don't know. I'll Google it. But
Born 1959, February 14th. Frank Anderson's a Valentine's Day baby. Who knew? So that makes him mid-60s.
Okay.
67 this coming Valentine's Day. Yeah, see, that's interesting to me. You don't that to me feels a lot like we're cutting loose this whole staff. That's what we're going to try to get to.
Yeah. I mean, those are initially those are the vibes that you get for sure. I guess I'll ask you guys, what do you think the future looks like for Tennessee baseball? Like, do you think they'll kind of remain what they are? Do you see a dip? Do you see them going up another level? What do you see happening?
Well, I think the ball's in the fungo is in Danny White's bat bag, because if he was truly trying to redirect NIL money to Caldwell and women's basketball, are they going to remain that competitive? Or are they going to move NIL funds to football, to other options. I mean, that now becomes the biggest juggling act this side of Barnum and Bailey of where are you going to prioritize your discretionary money in a revenue sharing stream of NIL opportunities.
You asked me something about Tennessee baseball. So Josh says, before that, Josh says, thank you for the super chat, Josh. Tony V worked out with Buster Posey in negotiations. They get him and we get Link Jarrett. Yeah, that would work okay. The Florida State would be the reference here, obviously. Link, Buster Posey played at FSU and Link Jarrett's there now.
Yeah, but Link, like he's from there and he played at Florida State. Is he really going to leave?
I think that was a joke, but anyway. Here's my answer to that question, okay? Let's pretend Tony Vitello never happened, okay? Let's pretend we never heard of him. Tennessee baseball just went wherever it would have gone the last 7 or 8 years or however long he was there. If college baseball is a monopoly board, an SEC program is like, unless it's maybe Missouri, it's in the green and blue section of the properties. Is that fair? Just by virtue of being in the league.
Well, being in the league, being in the South, where the vast majority of the talent base is, being in a school, in a conference with an overwhelming advantage in terms of media right checks that get cut in Destin every May. There are a whole lot of opportunities. I'm not going to bag on the FSUs and the Clemsons and the Arizona States and these programs that have such great history, but it's certainly from B&O Railroad all the way to go. So include the yellows, the greens, and then the dark blues.
Well, I would like Kentucky was, 10 years ago, 20, not a good job. Nick Mingione gets them in the tournament every year now. They've been to the College World Series. They've won the conference. Just by virtue of being in the league, I think it's a pretty good job unless you just really screw it up, or like Missouri, which kind of has screwed that up. But also you're in a cold weather area, which hurts you. But here's where I'm going. Okay, now that you take Vitello out of it, now that you plug in what he's done, they've proven they could win as big as anybody. Heck, they did 20 years ago. Rod Delmonico was taking them to the College World Series, I don't know, every third year. Now, they weren't winning it. People didn't care about baseball then like they do now. But point is, Tennessee, if you put any resources into the job, by virtue of where you are, it's a decent job. And the guy who's just leaving there has shown it can be an elite job. So, look, I don't think the next guy comes in and does what Tony Vitello does. I don't think he wins at that level. But I don't think it crashes and burns either, unless there's some kind of negligence on Tennessee's part.
Right. Well, whoever they get, like the number one question, right, is what's your NIL look like? I mean,
yeah.
And like you just said, everybody outside of Missouri is invested in baseball in the SEC.
Yeah.
Like they just, like, it's different levels now, but again, everybody is pretty invested outside of Mizzou baseball wise.
A couple of things though, and a lot of people in the league are invested, and there's no debating that. Look, they could bring Graham's 18-month daughter in there to coach it next year, and there's enough talent coming back that she's going to win 38 games. All right. So as long as you can keep them together, which is a big feather in Elander's cap. But as we've seen in a lot of places, fellas, one bad hire and the lug nuts fall off. They don't loosen, they fall off.
Yeah.
Because the portal, if you make one bad hire, the portal gets crowded and everybody jumps ship.
Adam, go get Bianco from Ole Miss. Boy, you talk about a 180 in personality.
No kidding. I think that's about as opposite as it gets.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Wasikowski from Oregon is the name that's being thrown out there. It's been thrown out in our chat here. It's been thrown out by people
That would
that
be
I've
a very
texted with
good
privately. Yeah, he's not coached that long, but he took Purdue to, I don't know if respectability is the word, but left it a lot better than he found it. I guess they went to a regional his second year, so there was that. And then at Oregon, he's been pretty consistent, been to the NCAA tournament in the 4 years. He's been there 5, but the first year was COVID.
Yeah. When you look at his resume, like if he is the guy, and again, we're just speculating here, he is a West Coast guy, but he is literally bounced all over the place. So I take that, like you can put him anywhere. He's just going to figure it out and win. That's kind of his track record. That's just what he's done. He does have a little bit of SEC experience. I think he was at Florida as an assistant for like a hot second. But like to me, like they're gonna have options, right? Like
Yeah.
And somebody mentioned like South Carolina, how they haven't really been the same. I get what you're saying, but man, it is a different galaxy from when South Carolina was rolling, when they played for 3 national championships in a row. Like think of how different it is now than 15 years ago when they had it going.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. Go ahead, Jay. Then I've got something.
You guys were talking about the 180 demeanor difference if they went after Bianco compared to Tony V. I think they need to find somebody who's going to err on the side of Tony V. That played well to this fan base. I mean, the energized, the electric, passionate, and then there's the forever sports question on being the guy replacing the guy. And that's a arduous task, friends, an arduous task.
Yeah, I mean we're seeing it right now in football at Alabama. Like that's like the poster child for this, right?
Yeah.
We got another super chat from Josh. Josh, I can answer that. You're looking at South Carolina. South Carolina has the biggest NIL in the country. They spend more on their women's program than their men's. And then you're looking at like Oklahoma, let's just say they are heavily invested in women's basketball moving forward. And then Texas Tech is up there too. Like we've seen what Texas Tech is doing football-wise, and then they literally almost brought a national championship in softball.
UConn.
Yeah, but like that's more so like Gino is a legend. They're going to be good no matter what. I just don't think their NIL's not what some of these other ones are doing.
When they go complete revenue share, the Big East is going to take major strides to catch the SEC in basketball because they don't have to pony up for football.
I would bet you money it doesn't go down that way long term. The SEC is just not going to let that happen. They're going to. They'll find a way to compete in everything.
$5 million on the line, and schools get to decide how much is UConn going to give basketball compared to what they give the Huskies football program?
Well, and this is where I was going. I think SEC basketball is already finding ways to make up for the pay cuts with other forms of NIL as existed before. But anyway, that's getting us off topic. Here's what I'm thinking. The timeline on all of this is going to be wild, okay? Because you're stuck with an interim staff this year. You've kind of already sent the signal that you're probably moving on from this staff to another one. So your recruiting class, which right now Tennessee is 3rd in the country at perfect game. Vanderbilt 1, LSU 2. And like I've seen like Tennessee's, I've searched Baseball America, their draft class next year is just loaded with guys that are top 100 type guys. Like a lot of those guys don't come to campus anyway. So it's hard to pay. It's hard to give recruiting rankings complete seriousness this time of year because the best part of your class is likely to get shaved off, whether you're Vanderbilt, LSU, Tennessee, Florida, whoever. But still, they have recruited at a consistently high level. they did get a couple of guys through the draft this year. The pitcher whose name escapes me, Cam Appenzeller. They got, I don't know, 2 or 3. They got 2 or 3 other guys that were like top 150 in the draft type guys, I think, through the draft. Regardless of what gets taken off the top, which would have happened anyway under Vitello or anybody, now you have, I think, a retention issue. What if the guy you want is coaching at Oregon, and then they make it to the College World Series, which ends not long before the draft? I think you have some potential landmines in recruiting based on when this opening happened and what you were looking for next year. And if that guy is playing late into the season, that could potentially be very damaging. Now, look, maybe you find a next guy who's got those blue chip recruits at another school, and he pulls a Jim Schlossnagle and brings him on his next stop. I guess that's a possibility, but I do think they're in a difficult spot with recruiting. And by the way, they got guys locked up for the next class after that are special too.
Yeah, that's what makes the timing of this just so brutal for Tennessee. I think if they keep Elander, like, they'll be fine recruiting wise. If they make a change, that's where, like, as far as bringing somebody in from the outside, to me, that's where it's going to get really interesting recruiting wise.
Yeah. What else do we need to hit here?
I mean, I just think the big thing, huge loss for college baseball. This will have a massive, like, chain reaction in the SEC. I mean, like, it just will. Like,
yeah.
Nobody saw this happening. Nobody saw this coming, especially in October. Again, Jeff Passan broke this last Saturday, like, during the middle of all the college football games, and everybody was like, "Wait, what? Like, is this for real?" And took a little bit longer than I thought everybody kind of envisioned it to be this official. But again, I understand the move. Like, this is a once in a lifetime thing, but you talk about, like, just a major change in college baseball. Like, I honestly compare it to Nick Saban leaving LSU to go to the Dolphins. I mean, this is what this is.
Well, it was on the radar before this weekend. The deal was, I mean, he popped up at first, and I don't think people took it super seriously, or most people didn't. I thought it was a possibility. What happened with the Giants is they wanted Nick Hundley. That was their first choice. Nick Hundley, from what I understand, did not want to move, I think, out of San Diego. And so turned it down, and that's when Vitello popped up again.
Okay. Interesting. And again, Tony Vitello, a little bit different, right? Like, to our knowledge, no children, not married, like, all that stuff. So that makes it a little easier. But again, I look at it, this is one of the premier franchises in Major League Baseball. It'd be awfully hard to turn down. And then if you're Tennessee, just like, what in the world do they look like moving forward? Because they were, like, a major factor. 4 super regionals in a row, whatever it was. That Tony V did. So I am fascinated to see what that looks like.
Yeah, and might have been more to the resume had 2020 not gotten canceled, because that's when they were on the come and just nobody knew it yet.
Yeah. Do you think, what's the fan support look like for Tennessee baseball moving forward? I know we got some in the chat, but, like, what they did yesterday was awesome. To see that in October for college baseball, just for, like, a practice.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to rally around this team and all that, or is interest just kind of, like, fizzle and fade?
I don't think it's what it was, because I don't know how you move on from Tony Vitello and your interest gets greater, but I don't think it just drops off a cliff. I mean, they've assembled a pretty good roster. Tennessee fans will show up and support a winner now that baseball has been established as something that's worth watching. They assembled a great roster in the portal, like you said. Going to be hard for them to lose those guys. I mean, why would you not show up? I don't think, to be honest, I don't think Tony Vitello's strength was a game day guy, which to me makes the hire kind of a little bit curious. I think it was recruiting. motivation, all the things that they've done, player development. So I don't know, as long as and Frank Anderson's handled a roster before, as long as he doesn't completely mess it up, there's no reason they won't be good. And if they're good, I don't see a reason fans wouldn't show up.
That's the big prepositional phrase, though, if they're good. And we've seen it in every sport in this league. The moniker on this thing is it just means more. Well, here's the thing, gang, and everybody knows this. You can go from top of the heap to mid-tier to even bottom of the barrel in a heartbeat. If once that slide happens, it's an avalanche.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Graham, you brought it up earlier in the show. It happened at South Carolina. And look, hey, in that case, the AD who stepped down is the AD who ran the place after that. And you know, Ray Tanner knew what it took to succeed in baseball as much as anybody. And they've not gotten it back to anything close since. So, you know, I don't think that scenario is likely. I don't think they've even been back to Omaha. They've been probably to a couple of super regionals. I don't even know. I don't think it drops like that, but it can happen.
Chris, what's the reaction from the Vandy side?
Oh, I think that fan base is thrilled. I think every fan base in the league is thrilled other than the one he left. I mean, it's less interesting, but I mean, let's face it. You know, since 2021, if you start looking at league records, there's had to be the best, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, LSU fired a coach in that window.
Yeah. I do think it's like if it doesn't work out with him for the Giants, like it is definitely on the table. Like he's going to have his job of choice in college baseball.
Yeah,
like
Josh says they'll go ahead, I'm
SEC,
sorry.
ACC, one of those.
Josh says they'll hire a coach who values the long ball and flamethrowers. I mean, that makes sense in that park. The only thing I might say is you make sure you got an emphasis on ground ball guys. They brought in a couple of, I think, you know, I don't know if sidearm delivery is the thing, but different arm angles. I'm going to presume those guys usually keep the ball on the ground. So maybe there was already a little bit of a pivot there where pitching got to be a little bit of an issue last year. But I mean, look, you're gonna always recruit power to that park. They recruited power to that park before Tony Vitello was there.
Yeah, they have. SC Scout guy says he'd love to see Tony V go back to Missouri. Look, no offense to Missouri, my man's gonna have better options.
Oh,
Yeah.
Somebody put it in the chat. We hadn't been on the air long. Of let Van Horn retire in 3 years and go assume like an administrator's job in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
And if this thing goes off the rails, you think Tony V's loved in Knoxville? Let him go to Fayetteville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the comparison I made, and one of you guys mentioned, it may have been you, Graham, this really feels like Tennessee's playing the LSU role in the Saban to the Dolphins dominoes.
Yeah, like I mean this was the first thing I thought of. Like this is exactly Saban going to the Dolphins. Josh says Tony's going to kill it in the majors. Like maybe I think he's either going to crush it or it's just not going to work. But I can tell you, it is a different animal in that world than college baseball. Like it just is.
I think as a major league manager, you might be marginally worth 2 or 3 wins a game on the good side. And if you're a disaster, you know, the downside is bigger than the upside.
And to continue,
I think for most of these guys.
To continue the Saban corollary, what is Tony V's strongest suit? Same one Saban's was. He goes and gets dudes. You don't have that option as a major league manager. Mm-hmm. GM goes and gets your dudes.
Yeah. And looking at that Giants roster, like it's a bunch of veterans now. Like they don't have a lot of.
Yeah, they're not going to be ready for that rah-rah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, but he's no idiot.
No.
But I do wonder how long before he gets tossed from his first game. Like, what would you set the over-under on that at?
First game. I hope he goes and does it on purpose. But somebody put this in the chat too, and it's really true universally at jobs that require this much spare time. This dude was in his early 40s with no family. All he did was baseball. And that allowed him to pour himself into making Tennessee what he made them become. I don't know if that translates in a big league dugout, because you don't have your hands on every aspect of a program, even if you have the time to.
Correct. Guys, it's a long season too now.
Yeah.
162 games. It's a long time.
Yeah. GBO Kyle Branch says Chris Burke is an option.
Why would he want to do that? He's awesome at what he does.
That's true. It's a lot of pressure, but he loves his school too. And by all accounts, wonderful human being. Here's one other thing, but we'll get in parting thoughts. This will be mine. I've actually got to run my son to a playoff baseball game tonight in fall ball. As Josh pointed out, he's now coaching Drew Gilbert in San Francisco, which is in the NL West, which like the Rockies are the, Vols West. So he's going to be coaching his Jordan Beck and Chase Dolander, and some of his former guys. Gosh, they're closer.
Can't wait to watch him against the Dodgers.
Alberson. Yeah. He might be a little outmanned in talent, but I mean, it's the Dodgers who's not. So yeah, that's my parting thought. That's interesting. He's going to go coach Drew Gilbert and probably against a lot of his former guys.
Again, my final thought is just huge loss for college baseball and the SEC. Like, I feel for Tennessee fans, but again, I don't think there's anything they could have done. It's not a Tennessee issue by any means. It's just, it is what it is. Like, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, he made history to go from coaching college straight to the big league. So big loss for Tennessee. Just what do they look like moving forward? Like, that's the $1 million question.
Jay, before you give your parting thought, just a reminder, we're brought to you by the Yearly Company, a Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition, designed for meaning, each piece handcrafted from solid 14-karat gold, natural gemstones, made to measure for a perfect fit, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle is custom sized, so knowing your size is the most important first step before ordering. That's where the sizing kit comes in. Perfect place to start, especially for husbands who want to have sizes ready now. So shopping closer to the holidays is effortless. Code SE16KIT takes 100% off your sizing kit at checkout. ROKFORM, Tennessee fans, if you want to throw your phone, don't do that. But if you do, make sure it is protected by ROKFORM, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. I love mine. I've dropped my phone so many times. It comes up no worse for the wear. Get the vent clip for your car. You'll thank me for that one later, so you can have your phone in front of you and not sliding around the car. Secure mounting through their super strong magnets. SEC25 for 25% off. Also, HOVI hats. My Titans stink. My Titans hats do not. That's because of HOVI. It'll be your new favorite hat. Look no further than HOVI hats. For high-quality headwear with a great fit and unique designs, Bad Beat, BADBEAT, get you 15% off your entire order. Jay Greason, your parting thought.
My parting thought will be superseded just briefly by Josh putting the question out there of, is there any chance he pulls a Petrino and leaves halfway through that first year with a note on the locker? I don't think so. My parting thought is selfish in this regard. Like a lot of us, we watch a lot of baseball because it's what we talk about in spring. But I got to a place that I enjoyed watching college baseball, and Tony V was a big reason for that. I mean, they were the Death Star, man. You were either cheering for Darth Vader or you were cheering for the Death Star to get blown up. But nobody ever really wanted it blown up because it was more interesting when he was involved. So for me, this is a sad day for me, and I'm not a Tennessee grad. I watched more SEC baseball than I watched Major League Baseball in the regular season. And a big part of that was every time Tony V was on, he made it fun.
Look at
Exactly what Josh said. Yeah. Everybody had an opinion on the guy. Everybody. Good, bad. There was no indifferent on Tony Vitello. He did make it fun. He created a lot of memories. Wish him well with the Giants. All right. I got to go take care of my son and his baseball. So we'll do that. Thank you guys for watching. God bless you. Have a great rest of your week. All kinds of football stuff on your way this weekend. This is Southeastern 16 presented by FanDuel.